text-to-voice synthesis provided by Vidnami. Why isn't the Trump administration cooperating and benefiting? January 19, 2021 by Anna von Reitz. I have been asked why the Trump administration is making all these mistakes and why they are not openly cooperating with our lawful government? The short answer is that President Trump believes that he has to remain the president of the British Territorial Government in order to maintain control of the situation and have standing to operate as commander-in-chief. This isn't true. He could actually operate as the president of the whole shebang and have a much more solid claim to be commander-in-chief, but in this as in so many other things, he is being advised by American bar attorneys. American bar attorneys have been trained to operate as efficient shipping clerks in the British Merchant Marine Service. How much do you think they know about actual public law and American government? Not much. A few more American bar attorneys have been trained in international law as JAG officers and they are competent in Admiralty Law, which again, isn't the kind of international law that our treaties and constitutions and public law address, but is still a great deal better than nothing at all. The recent public embarrassment of multiple state attorney generals speaks eloquently to the problem. Multiple state attorney generals addressed the SCOTUS seeking to bring charges in original jurisdiction to challenge the election, blissfully unaware that as state attorney generals they lacked standing to bring charges in original jurisdiction. Now, these people aren't stupid, uneducated, or frivolous, they simply haven't been educated in the subjects necessary. Why haven't they been properly educated? Because of the Great Fraud, the public law became inaccessible to the vast majority of people, and as a result, it fell into disuse. There was no call for it, and demand was needed to justify expenditure of funds and assignment of personnel to administer courts of public law, and it wasn't in the self-interest of the traitors promoting the Great Fraud to educate Americans about their actual history or the public law, so, gradually, it simply dropped out of the law school curriculum. A very, very few students, like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, were taken aside and privately tutored so that they learned the American public law, but not for the right reasons. They were tutored in our public law by British barristers, so that they could use it to protect themselves and their traitorous relatives in the Pilgrim Society. Too bad these British mentors of the dynamic duo didn't know that Hillary was a member of the Irish Republican Army from childhood onward. We doubt that they would have been so avid and complete with their training assignments. So, anyway, the vast majority of American bar attorneys and U.S. bar attorneys, both, have never been trained in the forms of law that matter now, and they are falling back on what they do have in their kit bags. The vast majority of American attorneys and judges think of themselves as loyal Americans, and have been unaware of the great fraud they have been participating in. So, here they are, rallying around, trying to help without really having the tools to do the job, and not yet having the big picture perspective on the problems at hand. Also, as you can understand, there is no great element of trust available when people are confused and trying to sort things out that are of ultimate and urgent importance. President Trump's mission and contractual obligation is to protect our country and our people, and so, he is doing his best with what he's got. It will take time and perspective to realize that the American government was missing, so far as the international community was concerned, and more time to realize why it was missing, and still more time to accept the fact that the territorial government is not the same as the American government. It will also take time to accept the fact that the actual American government has been called into session and is now here, presenting itself, after a purported 160-year interregnum. The truth is often stranger than fiction, and frankly, Donald Trump has enough on his plate right now. He has sufficient granted authority to exercise his office as commander-in-chief. He's doing a fine job with that. All the rest of the fine points can come later. The narrow Admiralty venue and the expertise of the JAG officers is sufficient, in a pinch, to do what has to be done. We trust these honorable men to protect the American states and people as their contractual obligations require, and we trust the international Admiralty Law to yield justice to international criminals.